Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's GTA 5 video, I want to specifically focus on the payouts for the Cayo Perico heist. We know that the update is going to be coming in just a couple of days on December 15th, and a lot of you guys are probably wondering, well, how much money can you make from a heist like this? Because at the end of the day, that's the objective. You know, obviously there's going to be a lot of new vehicles, characters, it'll be a ton of fun, but at the end of the day, we're here to make money. That's the bottom line. So how much money can you make for completing this heist? We're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be talking about the ways in which you can gather the money that you'll ultimately get, and a whole lot more. So let's actually begin with the trailer itself, because there's a very quick but important scene that I think shows off essentially how much we're going to be able to make from this actual heist. And it actually starts with this scene right here. So I know this is in the submarine. Focus on the guy that's standing in the center in that kind of island. So he is at some sort of like digital tablet. And this seems to be like the hub for our heist, as far as like the map of the actual island, and then also processing the payouts. Because as you guys see in a second, this is what the little tablet looks like when you're loading in. Now, there's a couple of things on the left-hand side of the screen that I don't actually think we can make out what they say. And I've tried zooming in as best as I can. There seems to be 3 different categories there. The first one is selected is giving us 5 options. And I'm imagining these are all things that you can either collect or checkpoints that you might have to do before the actual heist starts. Because the first one, you can see it says 24 of 24. I don't know what that is. The next one below is either 0 of 0 or 8 of 8, 4 of 4, 6 of 6, and 6 of 6. Now, the one at the bottom looks like it says points of interest. So I don't think these necessarily have to do with the payments that you're getting. I think these are objectives to complete the heist itself. So if we add all of them up, I don't know if 24 is the total or if 24 is just one category there, but you've got 24 and then 8, which is going to get us to 32. Another 4 would be 36. Another 6 after that would be 42, and then 48 in total. So those are like all your checklist right there. And the reason we're paying attention to them in this video regarding payouts is because it happens on the same screen. And then there's like a photo below that looks like it is a safe. And there's something that you can see inside of the safe there. Now, we don't know if that is gold or artwork or drug money. We'll talk about that in a second. But what I want to focus on now is on the far right-hand side of the screen. So you can see that there are 2 separate amounts of money that we can get here. One is Madrazo files for $1,100,000. The other is secondary targets, which is $2,848,800. Now, I don't know if these amounts are fixed or if this all depends on like how much scouting you do on the island or how successful you are in gathering your materials. But from what it looks like here, it looks like you have to gather how much potential money you could get. And then once you're on the island, that is the maximum that you can acquire. And then if you're unable to get, let's say every bar of gold, you wouldn't necessarily get all that money. So if we do add all that up, that roughly brings us to around $4 million for a max payment. So at least from what we know so far, $4 million seems to be the maximum payout that you can get from the Cayo Perico heist. I don't know, again, if it would go any higher than that, if there are other things that you could end up doing, if this was the example that Rockstar provided. But for now, at least we know that you could potentially make $4 million. Now, keep in mind that you can do this heist solo. But again, maybe the amount of money you can make solo will vary depending on if you have 2 or 3 or 4 players with you. So keep that in mind as well, that this might be a full crew taking down this score. Not someone necessarily doing it solo. And so your payout might depend on how many people you have doing it with you as well. Now, a couple of other things about this. You might be wondering Madrazo files and secondary targets. So on the last trailer, Rockstar ended up announcing that El Rubio and his crime syndicate were a supplier to the Madrazo family. So they are working side by side. So we don't know if Martin or any of his associates are going to be involved in the payout and this heist itself, but it looks like there's 2 different types of scores. a score associated directly with Martin Madrazo and a score directly associated with the secondary targets. Now, you might be wondering what those secondary targets are. Well, on the 2 news wires that Rockstar have provided so far, they've told us that there's 3 different items that we're going to be able to score: art, gold, and drug money. So I don't know how it's going to work, because in the casino heist, you would have to like source the casino and it would be different in the vault each time. I don't know if it's going to be like that on the island. I would imagine that you wouldn't just have at one point in time the island that only has art or only has gold or only has drug money. I think that all 3 of those things will be scattered across the island, and it's up to you to be the most efficient as you make your way across the island to get, whether you drug money, art, or gold. Now, during the trailer itself, we saw our characters sourcing both art and gold. I don't think there was ever a scene where we saw them just straight up grabbing cash, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. So the first scene we see with the artwork, I'd imagine, is this like panther here with like the blue diamonds on there. That's what I think we're looking at as far as art goes. I don't necessarily think it's going to be only paintings or like only things you saw in the casino heist. I think art might include like statues. It might include stuff like this. So that is the first example of art that we'll end up taking. And it looks like it does take time to get it, as it looks like it's behind some security glass here, and our characters are having to use this specialized glass cutting tool in order to get it out. And then the other time we see our characters grabbing items is gold. Now, this actually looks like it's on the outskirts of the island. It looks like it's honestly in this little shed out here. Now, one thing of interest to note is our character grabbed 4 gold bars at a time. Now, I don't know how many were total here if we're ended up catching this scene in the middle of our characters grabbing it. But as you guys can see here, he's grabbing 4 at a time, which is quite an improvement from the casino heist, where our character was only able to grab 1 at a time. So that's quite nice, and I guess gold would be a little bit of a quicker way. Now, again, there wasn't another scene where we saw our characters grabbing cash, but on the actual artwork for the Cayo Perico heist, you can see that there was cash scattered at the bottom. So I would imagine it would work very similar to how it did in the casino, where you just grab stacks of cash, and the cash might just be scattered randomly. It might be in safes located in his house, his compound across the island. So far, we've talked about the benefits and the positives of making payouts like this, but there's certainly going to be some ways in which Rockstar essentially stifles how much money you are going to make. And whether that's going to be through a cut that occurs, like that you have to give at the very beginning or at the very end. So that's why I think the Madrazo family right here is important, because maybe this is Rockstar's way of saying, hey, you've got to give the Madrazos a cut so that they don't come after you. Like, yes, it's nice you stole some of their money, but if you give a portion of it, they'll let you keep, all of it, or at least the majority of it. So that's just a theory right there. There's also probably going to be a crazy initial setup cost. So as we saw in the actual trailer, it looks like you're going to have to go to the music locker in order to get information on the heist, because there's one scene in particular that we actually see where you're actually talking to a brand new character. He mentions the submarine, and then it shows a quick shot of the trailer of the submarine happening. So I think you have to go to the music locker first to get information on the island and the heist itself, and then once you've acquired that, you'll then probably have to purchase the submarine in order to even start the heist, just like you had to purchase an arcade in order to start the casino heist. So there's definitely going to be some upfront fees here, and I think there's going to be fees every time you start the heist, just like there was fees every time you started the casino heist. And then it looks like there's going to be a long list of setups that you have to do, whether that's finding points of interest or whether that's finding things you need to actually complete the heist, like that glass cutting tool, ways to get onto the island, security details, vehicles, etc. So I think it is going to be building off of the casino heist, because Rockstar obviously probably saw that as a really good success, but it's definitely not just going to be you taking home $4 million. If that is the maximum payout, you'll be taking home the $4 million minus a lot of cuts, minus a lot of setup fees, the potential of losing money as you escape from the island, because that essentially looks like it's your goal, is just get off the island alive. And if you can do that, you basically get away with whatever you have. So that is how I think the payouts are going to work for the Cayo Perico heist here in Grand Theft Auto Online. Obviously, as we get new information and more information, I'll be sure to keep you guys posted. And as the update officially arrives on Tuesday, we'll obviously be able to dive in and check out everything that Rockstar has got going on. But for now, that is how I think the payouts are going to work. Let me know how you think the payouts are going to work in those comments down below. I would, of course, love to hear from you guys down there. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You want to stay up to date on all the latest GTA and all the Cayo Perico heist videos that I'll be doing here on my channel once the update actually arrives. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.